The lie about friendship. You've got 200 friends on social media. 50 people you'd call if you were having a party. 20 you see regularly. 10 you describe as close. But here's the question that reveals everything. How many of them would show up if you called at 3 a.m. with a real problem? Not a fun crisis. Not an exciting drama. A real, unglamorous problem. You've lost your job. You're genuinely struggling. You need help moving house on a Tuesday afternoon. You're having a breakdown and you need someone to just sit with you in silence. How many would actually show up? If you're honest? 1. Maybe 2. Possibly none. And yet you're still calling all of them friends. You're still giving your time, your energy, your emotional labor to people who've never proved they'd do the same for you. Here's what nobody tells you about friendship: most of the people you call friends aren't actually friends. They're users with good social skills. They show up when it's convenient. They disappear when you need them. They take your time, your money, your support, your listening ear. And you give it because you're terrified of admitting the truth. You've invested years in relationships that were never real. That person who only calls when they need something? Not a friend. That person who's never there when you're struggling but expects you to drop everything for their crises? Not a friend. That person you've known for a decade who wouldn't lend you £50 in an emergency? Not a friend. They're acquaintances. They're users. They're social parasites. But you keep calling them friends because the alternative, admitting you're lonelier than you thought, feels unbearable. Let me show you what this looks like in practice. Your mate from university calls. You haven't heard from them in 4 months. They need help. Of course they do. They need money. They need career advice. They need emotional support through another self-inflicted crisis. You show up. You always show up. Last month, you needed them. You were genuinely struggling. You reached out. They were too busy. They'd get back to you. They never did. But you're still calling them a friend. Your colleague wants to go for drinks when they need to vent about work. They want your advice when they're making a decision. They want your support when they're anxious about a presentation. When you needed someone to cover for you. When you were drowning and needed help. When you just wanted to celebrate something good. They were unavailable. They had plans. They were dealing with a lot right now. But you're still calling them a friend. Someone in your social circle always needs something. Always has drama. Always has a crisis that requires your immediate attention. But they never remember your birthday. They never ask how you're doing. They never reciprocate. And you're exhausted. You're resentful. But you keep showing up because you've been told that's what good friends do. Here's what's actually happening: you're not being a good friend. You're being a vending machine. People press buttons, you dispense resources, and nobody's actually getting to know you. And 2,500 years ago, Confucius saw this exact pattern destroy people's lives. But here's what's interesting: Confucius never taught that you should maintain every friendship. He never said you owe everyone equal treatment. He taught something far more demanding: friendship is for mutual elevation, not mutual extraction. And if someone isn't elevating you, they're not your friend, they're an obstacle to your growth. In the Analects, Confucius explicitly distinguished between types of friends. He said, there are 3 kinds of beneficial friends and 3 kinds of harmful friends. Beneficial friends are the upright, the trustworthy, and the well-informed. Harmful friends are the ingratiating, the insincere, and the glib-tongued. The person who flatters you but never challenges you. Harmful. The person who's all promises but no follow-through? Harmful. The person who performs friendship but disappears when it's inconvenient? Harmful. Most people's friend groups are full of harmful friends. And they're wondering why they feel so isolated. Today, I'm going to show you the 5 levels of friendship that Confucius would recognize, from acquaintance to life or death bond. And I'm going to show you why you're currently giving level 5 treatment to people who've never moved past level 1. By the end, you'll understand why most of your friends don't meet the Confucian definition of friendship, how to recognize users disguised as friends, the 5 ascending levels of trust and what each actually requires, when to demote people and why that's not cruelty, it's clarity, how to build the small circle of genuine friends that Confucius valued over large networks of shallow connections. This isn't about becoming cold or calculating. It's about finally being honest. Because right now, you're exhausting yourself maintaining relationships that were never mutual. And Confucius would tell you, that's not loyalty. That's self-sabotage disguised as virtue. You're allowed to have standards for friendship. You're allowed to expect reciprocity. You're allowed to stop giving to people who only take. Most of your friends aren't friends. They're people you're afraid to stop serving. Let's fix that. Level 1, Acquaintances, basic courtesy, zero obligation. Here's the first level, acquaintances. People you know. People you're polite to. People you might chat with at a party or see regularly in a specific context. And here's what you need to understand: acquaintances deserve basic courtesy. That's it. Nothing more. But most people can't tell the difference between an acquaintance and a friend. So they're giving deep emotional labor to people who barely know them. They're saying yes to requests that should be easy numbers. They're treating level 1 relationships like level 5 bonds. And they're exhausted. What acquaintances actually are? An acquaintance is someone you know in a specific context. Your colleague you chat with at lunch but never see outside work. Your neighbor you exchange pleasantries with but don't invite inside. The person you went to school with who you see at reunions but never text. What you owe them: politeness, basic respect, surface-level pleasantness. What you don't owe them: your time outside that context, deep emotional support, financial help, constant availability, priority access to your life. But people pleasers can't make this distinction. Someone asks for help, they give it. Someone needs emotional support, they provide it. Someone wants their time, they surrender it. Even when that person has never moved beyond acquaintance. The Confucian principle, Li, appropriate response. Confucius taught Li, often translated as ritual propriety, but really meaning knowing what's appropriate given the relationship. Different relationships have different obligations. Your parent has different claims on you than your colleague. Your spouse has different claims than your acquaintance. That's not coldness. That's wisdom. Treating everyone the same isn't fairness, it's foolishness. Because when you give everyone equal access to your resources, you're actually stealing from the people who've earned deeper investment. Your close friend needs genuine support through a crisis. That requires hours of emotional labor over weeks. An acquaintance wants the same level of support for a minor inconvenience. If you give both the same effort, you've just taken resources from someone who legitimately needs them and wasted them on someone who doesn't. Your close friend gets less because you're spread too thin. The acquaintance learns they can demand intimacy without earning it. Li says, match your response to the relationship. Think about it for a moment. How many acquaintances are you currently treating like close friends? How much energy are you giving to people who've never moved beyond surface politeness? Modern scenario: The acquaintances request. Someone you vaguely know from a networking event messages you. They need a favor. Can you introduce them to your contact? Can you review their CV? Can you meet for coffee to give them career advice? You've met them once. They've never offered anything in return. This is a classic level 1 relationship, acquaintance, not friend. The people-pleaser response, of course. When works for you? Then they spend 2 hours preparing, meeting, following up. The acquaintance benefits. The people-pleaser gets nothing but the performance of being helpful. The Lee response, I'm not taking on new commitments right now, but I can recommend a few resources that might help. You've been polite. You've offered something appropriate to the relationship level. You haven't given away resources that should be reserved for people who've actually invested in you. How to recognize acquaintance-level relationships. 3 signs someone is an acquaintance, not a friend. 1. Context-dependent contact. You only interact in specific settings. When that context ends, so does the interaction. 2. No reciprocal vulnerability. You might share surface information, but neither of you has been genuinely vulnerable with the other. 3. Zero cost to them if they disappear. If they stopped showing up, they'd lose nothing significant. No real investment has been made. If all 3 apply, that's an acquaintance. Treat them accordingly. The permission level 1 gives you. You're allowed to be polite to acquaintances without becoming their unpaid therapist. You're allowed to say, I can't help with that, but good luck. You're allowed to keep interactions pleasant but bounded. This isn't meanness. This is appropriate calibration. You're not refusing to be kind, you're refusing to give intimate-level resources to surface-level relationships. And here's what happens when you get this right: you stop being exhausted by people who barely know you. You have energy left for people who actually matter. As Confucius would say, this isn't coldness. It's discernment. Knowing who deserves what level of investment is the foundation of all genuine relationship. Takeaway: not everyone who knows your name deserves access to your life. Level 2. Companions, shared activities, pleasant but not deep. The second level, companions. These are people you actually enjoy spending time with. You share interests. You do activities together. You have fun. But here's the critical distinction: companions are activity-based relationships. You like doing things together. That doesn't mean you trust them with your life. And most people confuse companionship with friendship. They think, we go to the pub together, we play football together, we attend the same events, therefore, we're friends. Not necessarily. What companions actually are. A companion is someone whose company you genuinely enjoy in specific contexts. Your running mate. Your pub quiz team. The person you see films with. The colleague you get lunch with and actually laugh. These relationships are pleasant. They're valuable. But they're context-specific and activity-focused. What companions provide: shared enjoyment, light conversation, fun, company that makes activities more pleasant. What they don't provide: deep emotional support, reliability in crisis, reciprocal vulnerability, loyalty when it's costly. The test that reveals the difference. Here's how you know someone's a companion, not a friend. Remove the shared activity. Does the relationship still exist? You stop going to that gym. Do you still see them? You change jobs. Do they still call? The hobby ends. Do you still meet up? If the answer is no, that was companionship, not friendship. And that's perfectly fine, as long as you're not expecting friendship-level loyalty from companion-level relationships. Who in your life right now fits this exactly? Someone pleasant, someone you enjoy, but if the context disappeared, would they? Modern scenario, the pub mate. You've got someone you see every Friday at the pub. You've been doing this for 2 years. You laugh. You joke. You have a great time. You'd call them a friend if someone asked. Then something happens. You lose your job. You're actually struggling. You reach out. They say, mate, that's rough. Let's grab a pint soon and you can tell me about it. But soon never comes. They're busy. They've got plans. The weekly pub meetups continue, but the genuine support never materializes. What just happened? You discovered they were a companion, not a friend. They enjoy your company when it's fun. They're not equipped or willing to show up when it's hard. That's not a betrayal. That's simply the reality of level 2 relationships. They're pleasant. They're not deep. The Confucian perspective, Peng versus you. Ancient Chinese distinguished between Peng and you. Peng are companions, people you share activities with, people you enjoy seeing, but the relationship doesn't go deeper than that. You are friends, people you trust, people who help you grow, people who'll tell you hard truths and show up when it costs them something. Most people have dozens of Peng. They think that's friendship. But Confucius warned, if all your relationships are Peng, you're surrounded by people but fundamentally alone. Why companions matter, but shouldn't be confused with friends. Companions serve a real function. They make life pleasant. They provide social connection. They're the people who make Friday night fun and Monday morning bearable. Don't dismiss companions. They're valuable. But don't promote them beyond what they've earned. Don't expect depth from people who've only ever shown up for surface fun. Don't give them access to your vulnerabilities when they've never proved they can handle them. The mistake people make. Someone's been a companion for years. You've spent hours together. Surely that makes them a friend? Not necessarily. Time spent doesn't equal depth achieved. You can know someone for a decade and still be at level 2 if you've never moved beyond activities and surface conversation. The person who makes you laugh at the pub but has never asked how you're really doing? Companion. The person you play tennis with weekly but who doesn't know what you're genuinely struggling with? Companion. The person you've worked alongside for 5 years but who's never been vulnerable with you and you've never been vulnerable with them? Social convenience, not genuine bond. Pleasant. Enjoyable. Not friends. What you owe companions, and what you don't. What you owe, showing up for shared activities. Being pleasant company. Reciprocal enjoyment. What you don't owe, deep emotional labor. Constant availability outside the activity context. Financial support. Priority over your actual close relationships. If your companion asks to borrow significant money, that's a level 4 or 5 request from a level 2 relationship. The answer is no. If your companion expects you to drop plans with close friends to do your usual activity with them, they're confused about what level you're at. The appropriate response means recognizing that companions deserve your presence in shared activities. They don't deserve unlimited access to your life. The value of staying at level 2. Not every relationship needs to go deeper. Some of the most sustainable, enjoyable relationships in your life will stay at level 2 for decades. And that's perfect. The mistake is either 1. Expecting level 4 depth from level 2 people, and being disappointed. 2. Giving level 4 investment to level 2 people, and being exhausted. Know where people sit. Treat them accordingly. Enjoy the companionship for what it is without demanding or giving more than the relationship has earned. Takeaway: enjoying someone's company doesn't mean trusting them with your life. Know the difference. Level 3: Trusted friends, proved reliability, reciprocal support. Now we reach level 3: Trusted friends. And here's where most people start to fail the audit. Because a trusted friend isn't someone you've known for ages. It's not someone you like. It's not someone who's nice to you when it's convenient. A trusted friend is someone who has proved, through action, not words, that they'll show up when it costs them something. And if you're honest, most of the people you call close friends have never actually done that. Pause here. Think about the people you call close friends. What have they actually proved through their actions? Not what they've said. Not what you hope they'd do. What have they demonstrated? What trusted friends actually are. A trusted friend is someone who has demonstrated reliability over time in situations that mattered. Not just shown up to the fun stuff. Not just been there when it was easy. Proved they'll show up when it's hard. They've helped you when it was inconvenient for them. Told you a hard truth when lying would have been easier. Kept a confidence when sharing it would have been dramatic. Showed up in a crisis without needing to be begged. Reciprocated your investment consistently over time. Notice, all of these require evidence. Not feeling. Not assumption. Proof. The Confucian standard, Shin, trustworthiness. When Confucius described beneficial friends, he listed Shin, trustworthiness, as one of the 3 essential qualities. But Shin isn't about someone saying, "Trust me." It's about someone proving through consistent action that their words match their behavior. Analects 1.4. Each day I examine myself on 3 points. Have I been loyal in my dealings with others? Have I been trustworthy with friends? Notice, trustworthiness with friends is something you examine daily. It's not assumed. It's actively maintained through behavior. This is what separates Confucian ethics from modern sentiment. Trust isn't given freely based on good intentions. It's earned through demonstrated reliability. Modern scenario, the crisis test. Something genuinely difficult happens. Not fun difficult. Not dramatic difficult. Genuinely hard. You lose your job. A relationship ends badly. A family member dies. You're having a breakdown and you need help. You reach out to the 10 people you describe as close friends. How many actually show up? Not "I'm sorry to hear that" over text. Not "let me know if you need anything," which puts the burden back on you. Actually show up. Call you. Come over. Sit with you. Offer specific, concrete help. If the answer is 1 or 2, those are your trusted friends. The other 8 were companions you mistook for friends. The reciprocity test. Here's the second test. Have they ever asked you for genuine help? And when you needed the same, did they show up? If the relationship is always you helping them, and they're never there when you need them, that's not friendship. That's extraction. If they've never asked you for help, never been vulnerable, never needed you, the relationship hasn't been tested. You don't actually know if they're trustworthy because they've never had to prove it. Real friendship requires mutual vulnerability and mutual reliability. Why people promote too early? Most people promote someone to level 3, trusted friend, based on time spent together, shared enjoyment, liking them, hoping they'd show up if needed. None of those are evidence. The only thing that earns level 3 status is demonstrated reliability when it mattered. But people are desperate for close friends. So they promote based on potential, not proof. Then they're shocked when the close friend isn't there in crisis. You weren't betrayed. You just promoted someone who hadn't earned it. The Confucian move: test before trusting. Confucius wasn't naive about friendship. He knew people perform virtue. He knew words are cheap. So he taught, observe someone's actions over time before trusting them. Analects 1.8, do not befriend those who are not your equal, meaning, don't befriend people whose actions don't match their words, whose character doesn't match their performance. Before promoting someone to level 3, you need evidence. 1. Small reliability first. Did they show up for small commitments? If they can't be reliable with small things, they won't be reliable with big things. 2. Costly action. Have they ever done something for you that cost them something? Time, money, convenience, social capital. If not, you don't know if they're capable of it. 3. Consistency over time. One grand gesture means nothing. Have they been consistently reliable across months or years? For reciprocal vulnerability, have they trusted you with something real? Or is vulnerability always one-directional? If you can't answer yes to all 4, they're still at level 2. And that's fine, as long as you're not expecting level 3 loyalty from them. What you owe trusted friends. Once someone has proved they're level 3, and only then, they've earned priority access when they need you, not unlimited, but significant. Reciprocal reliability when they're in crisis. Honest feedback even when it's uncomfortable. Loyalty when it costs you something. Genuine investment in their growth and well-being. But notice, this is reciprocal. If you're giving all of this and they're not giving it back, they're not level 3. They're a level 2 companion you're mistakenly over-investing in. The hard truth about numbers. Most people want a large friend group. They want to believe they have 10 close friends. Confucius would say, if you have more than 3 to 5 trusted friends, you're either extraordinarily fortunate or you're confused about what trusted friendship means. Real friendship, level 3 and above, requires time and energy. You can't maintain deep, reciprocal, reliable relationships with dozens of people. The maths doesn't work. The person with 50 close friends actually has 50 acquaintances or companions. The person with 3 trusted friends has 3 people who'll show up at 3 a.m. Which would you rather have? Takeaway: trust is earned through action, not assumed through time. Most people you call friends haven't actually earned it. Level 4, close friends, mutual growth, honest challenge. Level 4, close friends. And here's where we separate genuine friendship from everything that came before. Because a close friend isn't just someone who shows up when you need them. A close friend is someone who makes you better by refusing to let you stay comfortable in your dysfunction. And most people don't have a single level for friendship. Because level 4 requires something most people can't handle, being told the truth when it hurts. You're probably thinking of someone right now. Someone you thought was a close friend. Ask yourself, have they ever told you something you didn't want to hear? Have they ever challenged your excuses? Or do they just validate whatever you say? What close friends actually are. A close friend is someone who sees who you actually are, and not the performance, not the social media version, not the version you show at parties. They know your fears, your failures, your patterns. Calls you on your nonsense, when you're making excuses, when you're being self-destructive, when you're lying to yourself. They don't enable. They don't flatter. They tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Invests in your growth, they genuinely want you to become better. Not more successful in ways that benefit them. Actually better as a person. Allows you to do the same for them, they're vulnerable enough to receive hard truths from you. The relationship is mutual challenge, not one person always teaching and one always learning. This is rare. Because most people want friends who make them feel good, not friends who make them grow. The Confucian standard, ren through friendship. When Confucius described beneficial friends, he specifically mentioned the upright, friends who are honest and direct, who won't flatter you or enable your weaknesses. Analects 12.24, the superior person uses culture to gather friends, and through friend supports their virtue. Through friend supports their virtue. Not through friends feels validated. Not through friends has fun. Through friends becomes better. That's level 4. Friends who actively contribute to your moral development because they care enough to challenge you. Modern scenario, the honest conversation. You complaining about your job. For the 6th month running. You hate it. Your boss is terrible. Your colleagues are incompetent. It's unbearable. A level 2 companion says, "That sounds awful, mate." Your boss is definitely an idiot. A level 3 trusted friend says, "I'm sorry you're dealing with that. Let me know if I can help." A level 4 close friend says, "I've heard this exact complaint for 6 months." At some point, you have to ask yourself, are you staying because leaving is hard, or are you staying because complaining is easier than changing? Because from where I'm sitting, you're choosing to stay miserable. And I care about you too much to keep validating that choice. That's uncomfortable. You might get defensive. You might get angry. But that's what level 4 looks like. They tell you the truth your level 2 companions are too polite to say. Why people avoid level 4 friendships? Because level 4 requires 3 things most people can't handle. 1. Genuine vulnerability. You can't have a level 4 friendship without showing someone who you actually are, including the parts you're ashamed of. Your failures. Your patterns. Your self-deception. Most people are too terrified of judgment to do this. So they keep everyone at level 2 or 3, where they can maintain the performance. 2. Receiving hard truths. If someone tells you something you don't want to hear, your instinct is to get defensive or distance yourself. Level 4 requires you to sit with discomfort and ask, are they right? Is this something I need to hear? Most people would rather lose the friendship than face the truth. 3. Giving hard truths. It's easier to be nice. To validate. To enable. To say what someone wants to hear. Level 4 requires you to risk the friendship by saying what they need to hear. And most people aren't willing to do that. So they stay at level 3, reliable and supportive, but never pushing for growth. The Confucian distinction, flattery versus honest challenge. Remember Confucius's 3 harmful friends? The first type was the ingratiating, bien pai, people who flatter you, tell you what you want to hear, never challenge you. These people feel like friends. They're always positive. They're always supportive. They make you feel good about yourself. But they're preventing your growth. Because they're more interested in keeping the relationship comfortable than helping you become better. A level 4 friend makes you uncomfortable on purpose. Not because they're cruel. Because they care enough to risk the friendship for your growth. This is where Confucian ethics becomes demanding. Genuine care sometimes requires causing discomfort. The friend who never challenges you isn't being kind, they're being cowardly. The mechanism, mutual elevation. Here's what makes level 4 different from all previous levels. Levels 1 through 3 are about support. Being there. Showing up. Reliability. Level 4 is about elevation. Both people actively working to help the other become better. This requires honesty even when it risks conflict. Challenging assumptions and patterns. Celebrating growth, not just success. Holding each other accountable to stated values. Refusing to enable dysfunction out of misplaced loyalty. This is what Confucius meant by "through friend supports their virtue." Modern scenario: the mutual challenge. You tell your level for friend you're thinking about starting a business. You've been talking about it for 2 years. You've done nothing. Level 2 response: "That's awesome. You should totally do it." Level 3 response: "I'll support whatever you decide." Level 4 response: "You've been saying this for 2 years. What's actually stopping you? Because from what I can see, you're comfortable being the person who is going to start a business. You're not actually willing to do the uncomfortable work of starting it. So either commit and do it, or stop talking about it. But don't waste another 2 years performing ambition whilst avoiding action." Harsh? Yes. True? Probably. Is that person a better friend than the one who validates your stagnation? Absolutely. And here's the key: if you have a level for friendship, you're allowed to do the same for them. When they're making excuses, avoiding hard choices, lying to themselves, you get to call it. That's mutual elevation. That's Ren through friendship. The role of Zhong, loyalty with moral judgment. Here's where we need to introduce Zhong, loyalty balanced with moral judgment. In Confucian ethics, loyalty doesn't mean blind support. It means genuine care for the other person's well-being, even when that requires challenging them. The friend who always agrees with you isn't loyal. They're convenient. The friend who tells you hard truths because they want you to become better, that's Zhong. That's loyalty expressed through honest challenge. Level for friendships embody Zhong: "I'm loyal to your growth, not your comfort. I'm committed to who you can become, not who you're pretending to be." This is why level 4 is rare. Most people confuse loyalty with agreement. Confucius knew better. What you owe level for friends. Once someone has proved their level 4, and remember, this requires demonstrated willingness to both give and receive hard truths over time, they've earned your genuine self, not your performance. Hard truths when they need them, delivered with care. Deep investment in their actual growth, not just their comfort. Loyalty even when they're telling you things you don't want to hear. Priority access to your time, energy, and support. But this is still reciprocal. If you're giving all of this and they can't handle you being honest with them, they're not level 4. They want a yes man, not a friend. The rarity of level 4. If you have one level for friendship in your lifetime, you're fortunate. If you have 2 or 3, you're extraordinarily blessed. Most people have 0. Because they're not willing to be that vulnerable or that honest. They'd rather have 20 level 2 companions who make them feel good than 1 level for friend who makes them better. But Confucius would tell you, one relationship of genuine mutual elevation is worth more than 100 relationships of mutual validation. Takeaway: real friends don't just support you, they challenge you to become who you're capable of being. Level 5 of life or death bonds, tested in crisis, proven through sacrifice. Level 5, life or death bonds. The rarest level. The deepest trust. The friendship that's been tested in genuine crisis and survived. And here's what you need to understand: you don't choose to create level 5 friendships. They're forged through shared hardship. Most people will never have a level 5 bond. And that's fine. Because level 5 isn't something you can manufacture. It's something that emerges when 2 people face genuine crisis together and prove they'll sacrifice for each other. What life or death bonds actually are. A level 5 bond is formed when both people face genuine threat or crisis, not inconvenience, real hardship. Both people sacrifice significantly for the other's welfare, not just show up, actually pay a cost. The relationship survives and deepens through the crisis, not just endures, is strengthened. This isn't "we've been through a lot together" in the vague sense people usually mean. This is, we faced something genuinely difficult, and we proved we'd protect each other when it mattered. The historical context, Guanzhong and Bao Shuya. The classic Confucian example of level 5 friendship is Guanzhong and Bao Shuya. They served rival princes in a civil war. When Guanzhong's prince lost, Guanzhong faced execution. Bao Shuya, now serving the winning side, recommended Guanzhong for the highest ministerial position, even though it meant Bao himself would be subordinate to his friend. Guanzhong later said, "My parents gave me life, but Bao Shuya truly knows me." That's level 5. Sacrificing your own advancement to ensure your friend's survival and success. When Confucius was asked about this friendship, he said it exemplified true zhong, loyalty balanced with moral judgment. Bao Shuya didn't just save his friend's life. He recognized his friend's worth and ensured it served the greater good, even at personal cost. The difference from level 4. Level 4 is about mutual elevation through honest challenge. You're making each other better through everyday vulnerability and feedback. Level 5 is forged in crisis. It's not about becoming better, it's about proving you'll protect each other when everything's on the line. Level 4 says, "I'll tell you hard truths because I want you to grow." Level 5 says, "I'll take a bullet for you because your survival matters more than my comfort." Most people romanticize level 5. They think their close friends are level 5 because they've known them for years and they care about them. But caring isn't enough. Time isn't enough. Even deep trust isn't enough. Level 5 requires proof through crisis. And most friendships never face that test. Modern scenario, the crisis that reveals. Your business is failing. You're about to lose everything. You need £20,000 to survive the next 3 months or you're bankrupt. You reach out to your 5 closest friends. Responses you might get. Level 2, companion. "Oh man, that's rough. I wish I could help but I'm pretty stretched myself. Let me know how it goes." Level 3, trusted. "I can lend you £500 if that helps. And I'm here if you need to talk through options." Level 4, close. "Let's sit down and go through your finances properly. I'll help you figure out if this business is salvageable or if you need to let it go. And I can lend you £2,000 to buy some time." Level 5, "I'm transferring £20,000 today. We'll figure out repayment later. Right now, you need to survive this." Only the level 5 friend put your survival ahead of their security. Only level 5 sacrifice significantly without needing convincing. That's the test. Would they take a genuine hit, financial, reputational, personal, to protect you? If you've never needed that from them, you don't know if they're level 5. You're assuming based on affection, not proof based on crisis. Why level 5 is rare? Because it requires 3 things that rarely align. 1. Genuine crisis. Most people go through life without facing situations where they need someone to genuinely sacrifice for them. Financial ruin. Legal jeopardy. Life-threatening illness. Being utterly alone in a foreign country. If you've never needed that level of help, you've never tested whether someone is level 5. 2. Someone with capacity to help. Even if someone wants to help, they might not be able to. A level 4 friend who's also broke can't lend you £20,000. That doesn't mean they're not loyal, they just don't have capacity. Level 5 requires someone with the actual ability to sacrifice meaningfully when you need it. 3. Willingness to accept the cost. Even people who care about you might calculate the cost and decide it's too high. Lending that money. Taking that reputational hit. Putting their career at risk. That's not betrayal, that's human limitation. Level 5 requires someone who calculates the cost and does it anyway. The Confucian principle, Sheng Sai Yi Jiao, Ancient Chinese called level 5 bonds Shengxai Yi Jiao, friendship unto life and death. This wasn't metaphor. This was literal. These were friendships where people had proved they'd risk death for each other. In Confucian ethics, this was the highest form of friendship. Not because it was common, but because it was extraordinarily rare and extraordinarily valuable. Confucius didn't expect everyone to have this. He expected most people to have a few level 3 friendships and maybe one level 4. Level 5 was the exception, not the expectation. And this is crucial. Confucius wasn't being cynical. He was being realistic about human capacity and the nature of genuine sacrifice. Most relationships simply never face the conditions that create level 5 bonds. What do you owe level 5 bonds? If someone has proved they're level 5, if they've genuinely sacrificed for you in crisis, they've earned complete priority access to your life. Reciprocal willingness to sacrifice when they need you. Absolute loyalty even when it's costly. Unquestioning support in their darkest moments. The knowledge that you'd do the same for them without hesitation. But notice, this is still reciprocal. If they've sacrificed for you and you wouldn't do the same, you're not level 5. You're someone who took advantage of their loyalty. The test you hope you never face. You don't want to need a level 5 friend. Because needing level 5 means you're in genuine crisis. But if that moment comes, if you lose everything, if you face ruin, if you're genuinely alone and desperate, the person who shows up without needing to be convinced, who sacrifices without needing to be begged, who acts immediately because your survival matters more than their comfort, that's level 5. And if you've experienced that even once in your life, you understand why Confucius considered it the pinnacle of human relationship. The danger of pretending. Most people want to believe their close friends are level 5. They think, of course they'd be there if I really needed them. But you don't actually know until it's tested. And assuming level 5 loyalty from level 3 or for friend sets you up for devastating disappointment. The friend who's been there for every birthday, who you've known for 20 years, who you love deeply, they might be level 4. They might not be capable of level 5 sacrifice. That doesn't make them bad. It makes them human. Don't assume level 5. Let it be proved, or accept that most of your deepest friendships are level 4. There's no shame in that. The gratitude level 5 requires. If someone has proved they're level 5, if they've sacrificed genuinely for you, you owe them lifelong gratitude and reciprocal readiness. Not performative gratitude. Not just saying thank you. Living with the knowledge that when they need you, nothing else matters. You show up. You sacrifice. You prove the bond is mutual. Anything less is betrayal. The reality check. Ask yourself honestly, how many people in your life have actually proved they're level 5? How many have sacrificed significantly, financially, personally, professionally, for your welfare when you genuinely needed it? If the answer is 0, you don't have level 5 bonds. You might have level 4. That's still valuable. If the answer is 1 or 2, you're extraordinarily fortunate. Honor those bonds. Reciprocate that loyalty. Don't take it for granted. If the answer is more than 2 or 3, you're either remarkably blessed or you're confusing showed up when I was sad with sacrificed significantly in genuine crisis. Level 5 is rare because genuine crisis is rare and genuine sacrifice is costly. Takeaway: life or death bonds aren't declared, they're proved. Most friendships never face that test, and that's fine. The users: how to recognize harmful friends. If you're still watching, you've already proved you care about truth more than comfort. Confucius would approve. Because what comes next requires honesty most people can't handle. Now that you understand the 5 levels, let's talk about the people who don't fit any of them. The users. The parasites. The people Confucius explicitly warned against. Because here's what most people don't realize: not everyone who's friendly to you is a friend. Some people are just skilled at extraction. And right now, you've got users in your life who you're calling friends. They're draining you, using you, taking everything you give and offering nothing back. And you keep accommodating them because you're terrified of admitting you've been fooled. The 3 types of harmful friends. Remember what Confucius said: harmful friends are the ingratiating, the insincere, and the glib-tongued. Let me translate that into modern terms. 1. The flatterer, ingratiating. This person tells you what you want to hear. They validate every decision. They never challenge you. They make you feel good about yourself constantly. Why they're harmful? They're preventing your growth by enabling your blind spots. They're not interested in making you better, they're interested in keeping you comfortable and keeping themselves in your good graces. Modern example: the friend who always agrees with you, who never pushes back, who tells you you're right even when you're clearly making a mistake. They feel supportive. They're actually preventing you from seeing reality. How to spot them? They never disagree with you. They never offer constructive criticism. Their support is unconditional even when you're being self-destructive. They're more interested in being liked by you than helping you grow. 2. The ghost, insincere. This person performs friendship when it suits them. They're there when it's convenient, fun, or beneficial to them. They disappear when you need them. Why they're harmful? They're teaching you that your needs don't matter. They're taking your investment without reciprocating. They're making you feel like you have support when you actually don't. Modern example: the friend who only calls when they need something. Who's too busy when you're struggling but expects immediate availability when they're in crisis. Who promises to be there and never follows through. How to spot them? Their availability is consistently one-directional. They take but don't give. Their promises don't match their actions. When you track the pattern over 6 months, it's clear they show up for themselves, not for you. 3. The smooth talker, glib-tongued. This person is charming, persuasive, full of big promises. They talk a brilliant game. They never deliver. Why they're harmful? They're consuming your emotional energy and trust whilst providing nothing of substance. They keep you hoping for reciprocity that never comes. Modern example: the friend who's always about to help you, who makes grand gestures that never materialize, who talks about what a great friend they are whilst consistently failing to show up. All performance, zero substance. How to spot them? Their words don't match their actions. Ever. They're consistently planning to do things they never do. They apologize beautifully but never change behavior. They're more invested in appearing loyal than being loyal. You're seeing faces right now, aren't you? That's good. That's clarity beginning. The pattern that reveals users. Here's the diagnostic that reveals whether someone's a friend or a user. Track 3 things over 6 months. 1. Initiating contact. Who reaches out? If it's always you, or if they only reach out when they need something, that's extraction. 2. Topics of conversation. Is it balanced? Or is it always about their problems, their life, their drama? If you can't remember the last time they asked how you're really doing, that's extraction. 3. Costly actions. Has either of you done something that cost you something, time, money, convenience, for the other? If it's always you giving and them taking, that's extraction. If all 3 point the same direction, you initiate, you listen, you sacrifice, and they receive, vent, and disappear, that's not friendship. That's someone exploiting your inability to say no. Modern scenario: the friend who only calls in crisis. You have someone you've known for years. Lovely person. You genuinely like them. But when you look at the pattern, they call when they're upset. They need to vent. They need advice. They need support. You give it. Every time. When you're struggling. They are dealing with a lot right now. They're not in a good headspace to be supportive. They'll check in soon and never do. Last month you tracked it, they called you 4 times. All 4 times, they needed something. You reached out twice. Both times, they were too busy to engage properly. That's not friendship. That's you serving as unpaid emotional labor for someone who's using you. And here's what you need to understand, they might not even realize they're doing it. Some users are consciously manipulative. Most are just self-absorbed. They genuinely think the relationship is mutual because they feel supported. They don't notice they've never reciprocated because they don't think about your needs at all. But whether it's conscious or not, the result is the same: you're being drained. The Confucian response to users. Confucius didn't say maintain every relationship and hope people improve. He said, do not befriend those who are not your equal, meaning, don't maintain relationships with people whose behavior doesn't match their words. When someone is consistently taking without giving, when someone's promises never match their actions, when someone's availability is always one-directional, Confucius would tell you to reduce investment. Not necessarily cut them off entirely. But stop giving level 3 or for treatment to someone who's proved they're not even a genuine level 2 companion. This isn't cruelty. This is appropriate discernment. This is applied to harmful relationships. How to handle users without drama. You don't need a confrontation. You don't need to announce you're a user and I'm done with you. You just need to match your investment to their actual behavior. Step 1. Reduce availability. They call needing something? You're busy. Not in a dramatic way. Just genuinely busy with people who actually reciprocate. They want to vent? I've only got 10 minutes, but I'm listening. Then hold that boundary. They want a favor? I can't help with that, but good luck. Step 2. Stop initiating. Let them do the work. If the relationship only exists because you maintain it, it's not a relationship, it's you performing friendship for an audience of one. When you stop initiating and they never reach out, that tells you everything. Step 3. Observe without expectation. Give them space to surprise you. Maybe they'll notice the change and step up. Maybe they'll disappear. Either way, you have clarity. And clarity is more valuable than false hope. The relief of letting users go. People worry, but what if I need them someday? Here's the truth, you've never had them. They were never going to show up for you. You were just hoping they would. Letting go of users doesn't cost you support, you never had their support. It cost you the illusion of support. And that illusion was expensive. It was draining your energy, occupying your time, and preventing you from investing in people who actually reciprocate. When you finally release users, you experience something unexpected: relief. You're not managing their emotions anymore. You're not wondering why they never show up. You're not performing friendship whilst receiving nothing back. You have energy for people who actually deserve it. Takeaway: some people are friendly. Some people are friends. Learn to tell the difference before they drain you dry. The audit, where your friends actually sit. Now comes the uncomfortable part. The part most people avoid because facing the truth hurts. You need to audit your relationships honestly. Not based on how long you've known someone. Not based on how much you like them. Not based on hope or potential or, but we've been through so much together. Based on evidence. Based on behavior. Based on what they've actually proved. Get a piece of paper. This works better if you write it physically, not digitally. Something about writing by hand makes it harder to lie to yourself. The 5 questions. For each person you currently call a friend, ask these 5 questions. 1. What level have they actually earned? Based on their demonstrated behavior, not your feelings, not your hopes, where do they actually sit? Level 1, acquaintance polite, context specific, no deep investment from either side. Level 2, companion shared activities, genuine enjoyment, but no deep trust or crisis reliability. Level 3, trusted proved reliability over time when it mattered, reciprocal support. Level 4, close mutual vulnerability and honest challenge, actively contributing to each other's growth. Level 5, life or death proved through genuine crisis and significant sacrifice. Most people want to put everyone at level 3 or 4. The evidence usually puts them at level 1 or 2. 2. What level are you treating them as? Are you giving them level for emotional labor when they've proved they're level 2? Are you prioritizing them like level 3 when they've never shown up when it mattered? The gap between what they've earned and what you're giving is where you're being drained. 3. Is the investment reciprocal? Over the last 6 months, who initiates contact more often? Whose problems get discussed more often? Who's done more costly actions for the other? If it's consistently imbalanced, that's not friendship. That's extraction. 4. Do they make you better or just more comfortable? Level for friends challenge you. They tell you hard truths. They push you to grow. If someone only ever validates you, never pushes back, never challenges your blind spots, they are not interested in your growth. They're interested in keeping you comfortable, which keeps them comfortable. That's not level 4. That's level 2 or a user. 5. If you needed them at 3 a.m. with a real problem, would they show up? Not I think they would. Not I hope they would. Based on their demonstrated behavior, would they actually show up? If the answer is probably not or I don't know, they haven't earned the trust you're giving them. What level are most of your close friends actually sitting at? Be honest. This matters. The uncomfortable truth. When you do this audit honestly, most people discover half their friends are actually acquaintances they've been over-investing in. Most of the rest are companions, pleasant but not deep. They have maybe 2 or 3 trusted friends. They have 1, maybe 2 close friends. They have 0 or 1 life or death bond. And their first reaction is grief. Because they thought they had 10 close friends. They thought they had a robust social network. They thought they were connected. But they were performing connection whilst being fundamentally alone. The Confucian perspective on small circles. Here's what Confucius would tell you: this is normal. This is healthy. A small number of genuine friendships is far more valuable than a large number of shallow ones. Analect 16.4 doesn't say have as many friends as possible. It says, distinguish between beneficial and harmful friends, and invest accordingly. Quality over quantity isn't a cliché. It's a necessity. Because genuine friendship, the kind Confucius described, requires significant time and emotional investment. You cannot maintain 10 level for friendships. The maths doesn't work. There aren't enough hours in the week. You can have dozens of acquaintances, level 1. A handful of companions, level 2. 2 to 5 trusted friends, level 3. 1 to 3 close friends, level 4. 0 to 1 life or death bond, level 5. That's realistic. That's sustainable. That's enough. What to do with the results? Once you've done the audit, you have 3 types of people. 1. People you're over-investing in. These are the people you're treating as level 3 or 4 when they've proved they're level 1 or 2. Action, reduce investment. Match your behavior to what they've actually earned. Stop initiating. Stop prioritizing. Stop giving level for emotional labor to level 2 companions. This isn't cruelty. This is appropriate calibration. 2. People at the right level. These are the people where your investment matches their demonstrated behavior. Action, maintain. These relationships are healthy as they are. Don't force them deeper if they're sustainably pleasant at level 2. Don't expect more than they've proved they can give. 3. People you're underinvesting in. These are rare, but they exist, people who've proved they're level 3 or 4, and you're treating them like level 2 because you're spread too thin. Action, increase investment. Prioritize these people. They've earned it. If you're neglecting genuine friends because you're exhausted by users and acquaintances, that's backwards. The permission the audit gives you. You're allowed to have standards. You're allowed to expect reciprocity. You're allowed to stop giving to people who only take. You're allowed to admit that someone you've known for years is actually just a companion, not a close friend. You're allowed to recognize that most of your friend group doesn't actually know you. None of this makes you cold or calculating or selfish. It makes you honest. And Confucius taught that self-honesty is the foundation of genuine relationship. You can't build real friendships on top of fake ones. You have to clear away the illusions first. Takeaway: most people are surrounded by acquaintances they call friends. Audit honestly. Invest accordingly. The practice, building and maintaining real friendship. So you've done the audit. You've faced the uncomfortable truth. You've realized most of your close friends are actually companions or users. Now what? Now you build genuine friendship intentionally. Because Confucius didn't just teach you to identify harmful friends and walk away. He taught you how to cultivate beneficial ones. The Confucian method, slow promotion based on proof. You don't decide someone's your close friend and then treat them accordingly. You let them earn promotion through demonstrated behavior over time. The progression. Acquaintance to companion, they prove they're pleasant, reliable in shared activities, worth spending time with. This takes months of consistent positive interaction. Companion to trusted friend, they prove they'll show up when it's inconvenient, they reciprocate investment, they keep confidences, they demonstrate reliability when it matters. This takes a year or more of tested behavior. Trusted friend to close friend, they prove they can handle honest challenge, they invest in your growth not just your comfort, they're vulnerable enough to receive hard truths and mature enough to act on them. This takes years of deepening trust. Close friend to life or death bond, this isn't something you build, it's forged in crisis. It either happens or it doesn't. The key principle: move slowly. Test at each level before promoting. This isn't manipulation, it's wisdom. It's recognizing that trust is earned, not given freely. How to test without being manipulative. You're not playing games. You're observing behavior. At companion level. Do they show up when they say they will? Are they pleasant consistently or only when they want something? Do they reciprocate invitations and effort? At trusted friend level. When you need small help, do they offer it without needing to be convinced? When you share something vulnerable, do they honor that trust? When they make promises, do they follow through? At close friend level. Can they handle you being honest about something they're doing that concerns you? Do they challenge you when you're making excuses? Are they invested in your growth or just your comfort? You're not setting traps. You're just paying attention to what people actually do when given opportunities to prove trustworthiness. The small investments that build trust. Real friendship isn't built through grand gestures. It's built through consistent small actions over time. For companions, a level 2. Show up reliably for shared activities. Be genuinely pleasant company. Reciprocate invitations. Remember details they've shared. For trusted friends, level 3. Offer specific help without needing to be asked, "I'm going to the shops, can I grab you anything?" Not "let me know if you need anything." Remember important dates and events. Show up when they mention they're struggling, not with advice, just presence. Keep confidences absolutely. For close friends, level 4. Tell them hard truths when needed, delivered with care. Celebrate their growth, not just their success. Be vulnerable about your own struggles and failures. Hold them accountable to their stated values. Invest time even when it's inconvenient. The pattern: each level requires more consistency, more vulnerability, more sacrifice. Modern scenario: building from companion to trusted. You have a companion, someone you see regularly, enjoy spending time with, but the relationship hasn't gone deeper. You want to test whether there's potential for level 3. Don't suddenly trauma dump or make a huge request. That's not fair and it doesn't test anything useful. Do create small opportunities for them to demonstrate reliability. "I'm moving house next month, would you be able to help for a couple of hours?" Tests: will they show up when it's inconvenient? Share something mildly vulnerable: "I've been finding work really stressful lately." Tests: do they listen genuinely or change the subject? See if they reciprocate: do they start sharing more? Do they ask follow-up questions about things you've mentioned? Over 3 to 6 months, you'll see a pattern. If they consistently show up, reciprocate vulnerability, and prove reliable in small things, you can carefully invest more deeply. If they're inconsistent, if vulnerability makes them uncomfortable, if they don't reciprocate, they're a companion. That's fine. Keep them there. The Art of Honest Challenge, level 4. This is what most people get wrong. They think close friendship means unconditional support. It doesn't. Close friendship means caring enough to tell hard truths. But there's an art to this. 1. Earn the right first. You can't challenge someone you haven't supported. Before you tell someone a hard truth, you need to have proved you're on their side through consistent presence and support. 2. Come from care, not judgment. Wrong, you're being an idiot about this. Right, I care about you, and I'm worried that this choice is going to hurt you. Can we talk about it? 3. Be specific, not global. Wrong, you always make bad decisions about relationships. Right, I've noticed the last 3 people you've dated have all had this same pattern. Are you seeing that? Because from the outside, it looks like you're choosing people who can't meet you halfway. 4. Offer observation, not orders. Wrong, you need to quit that job. Right, you've been miserable there for a year. Every time we talk, it's draining you. At some point, staying becomes a choice you're making. What's keeping you there? 5. Give them space to respond. You've said the hard thing. Now listen. They might get defensive. They might need time to process. They might surprise you by agreeing. Don't push. Plant the seed and let them sit with it. What kills friendship? The 4 mistakes. Mistake 1. Promoting too quickly. You meet someone, you connect immediately, you decide they're your new best friend. You share everything, expect deep loyalty, treat them like level 4. Then you're shocked when they don't reciprocate at that level. Confucian correction: let people earn depth over time. Initial connection isn't the same as proven trust. Mistake 2. Expecting friendship without reciprocal investment. You want close friends but you never initiate, never share vulnerably, never do the work of actual friendship. Confucian correction: friendship requires mutual effort. If you want level 3 or 4 bonds, you have to invest at that level first and see if it's reciprocated. Mistake 3: tolerating one-sided extraction. You keep giving to someone who never gives back because you're afraid of losing the friendship. Confucian correction: that's not friendship. Releasing it doesn't cost you something real, it costs you an illusion. Mistake 4: refusing to challenge because you want to be liked. You see your friend making destructive choices, but you say nothing because honest challenge might create conflict. Confucian correction: if you care more about being liked than their well-being, you're not a level 4 friend. You're a level 2 companion pretending to be more. The 7-day practice. Here's what you do this week. Day 1 to 2, audit. Write down everyone you currently call a friend. Honestly assess what level they've actually earned based on behavior, not hope. Day 3 to 4, reduce overinvestment. Identify the top 3 people you're overinvesting in. Start reducing availability. Stop initiating. Match your effort to their demonstrated behavior. Day 5 to 6, increase worthy investment. Identify the 1 or 2 people who've actually proved they're level 3 or 4 but you've been neglecting because you're spread thin. Reach out. Invest intentionally. Day 7, honest conversation. Pick one person at level 3 or 4. Have one genuinely honest conversation. Not small talk. Real talk. Share something vulnerable or ask them something real. See if they can handle depth. This week will show you who your actual friends are. Takeaway: real friendship is built slowly through consistent small actions. Stop rushing intimacy with people who haven't earned it. The permission to have standards. We're almost done. But before we finish, you need to hear this. You're allowed to have standards for friendship. And most of the people in your life don't meet them. That's not mean. That's not cold. That's honest. For your entire life, you've been told that good people maintain every relationship, that loyalty means never walking away, that if someone calls you a friend, you owe them friendship. All of that is nonsense. What Confucius actually taught. Confucius didn't teach be friends with everyone. He taught, do not befriend those who are not your equal. Not equal in wealth or status. Equal in character. Equal in reciprocity. Equal in willingness to invest. He explicitly listed harmful friends and told you to avoid them. He taught that friendship is for mutual elevation, and if someone isn't contributing to your growth, they're preventing it. None of this is about being cold. It's about being honest. It's about recognizing that your time and energy are finite, and wasting them on people who don't reciprocate is a form of self-betrayal. The modern lie about friendship. You've been sold a lie that friendship is about quantity. That having a large friend group means you're connected, liked, successful. But Confucius, and anyone who's experienced genuine friendship, knows the truth: a small circle of genuine friends beats a large network of shallow acquaintances every single time. The person with 50 friends is often lonelier than the person with 3. Because 50 means you're giving everyone level 1 attention. 3 means you can actually go deep. Depth beats breadth. Always. The guilt you've been carrying. You feel guilty for wanting to reduce investment in people who don't reciprocate. You feel guilty for admitting someone you've known for years isn't actually a close friend. You feel guilty for expecting people to show up when you need them. Stop. That guilt is the product of a culture that values performance over substance. That tells you maintaining appearances is more important than honest relationship. Confucius would tell you that guilt is preventing you from building real friendship. Every hour you spend on a user is an hour stolen from someone who would reciprocate. Every ounce of energy you give to a level 2 companion you're treating as level 4 is energy you could give to actual close friends. The guilt is costing you genuine connection. What you're actually allowed to do. You're allowed to expect reciprocity. You're allowed to reduce investment in people who don't reciprocate. You're allowed to admit that someone's a companion, not a close friend. You're allowed to walk away from users. You're allowed to have 1 or 2 genuine close friends instead of 20 shallow ones. You're allowed to prioritize people who've proved they're trustworthy over people who just feel familiar. You're allowed to demand that people who want access to your depth prove they can handle it. None of this makes you a bad person. It makes you someone with self-respect. The question that changes everything. Before you give someone your time, your energy, your vulnerability, ask yourself, have they earned this level of investment through demonstrated behavior? Or am I giving it because I'm afraid of what it means if I don't? If it's the second one, you're not being kind. You're being afraid. And Confucius taught that acting from fear of judgment rather than genuine care is the opposite of Ren. The people you'll lose. When you start having standards, some people will leave. The users will disappear when you stop giving freely. The level 2 companions you were treating as level 4 will fade when you stop overinvesting. The people who benefited from your boundaryless generosity will call you changed or different or not a good friend anymore. Let them go. Because here's the truth, they never valued you. They valued what you gave them. The minute you stopped giving more than they deserved, they lost interest. That's not you pushing people away. That's people revealing they were only there for extraction. The people who'll stay. The people who stay when you have standards are the people worth keeping. The level 3 trusted friends who respect your boundaries and reciprocate your investment. The level 4 close friends who want mutual elevation, not just comfortable validation. The rare level 5 bond that survived genuine crisis. These people won't be offended by your standards. They'll respect you for having them. Because they have standards too. And they're relieved to finally have a friendship where both people are investing equally. The freedom of honest friendship. Once you release the users and stop overinvesting in companions, you experience something most people never feel, the freedom of genuine friendship. You're not managing anyone's emotions. You're not performing generosity to prove you're good. You're not exhausting yourself maintaining relationships that were never real. You're investing deeply in a few people who actually reciprocate. You're being genuinely known instead of performing likability. You're building relationships that make you better instead of just more comfortable. That's what Confucius meant by friendship supporting your virtue. Not validation. Not enablement. Actual elevation. And this is Ren, genuine humaneness, expressed through right relationship. Not love scattered indiscriminately. Love offered wisely, to those who've earned it and reciprocate it. Your practice this month. Over the next 30 days, do this. Week 1, complete the audit. Honestly assess where everyone actually sits. Week 2, stop initiating with the top 5 people you're overinvesting in. See if they notice. See if they reach out. See if the relationship exists without you maintaining it. Week 3, increase investment in the 1 or 2 people who've actually earned level 3 or 4. Have real conversations. Be genuinely vulnerable. Invest at the level they've proved they deserve. Week 4, evaluate. Who disappeared when you stopped overinvesting? Those were never friends. Who reciprocated when you invested appropriately? Those are your actual friends. At the end of the month, you'll have clarity. And clarity, even when it's uncomfortable, is better than the exhausting performance of fake connection. Come back and tell me in the comments, what did you discover? Who stayed? Who left? How did it feel to finally be honest about your friendships? Your story might give someone else the courage to try. Because here's what Confucius understood 2,500 years ago. Most people spend their lives surrounded by acquaintances they call friends, performing connection whilst being fundamentally alone. The few people who have genuine friendships, small in number, deep in trust, reciprocal in investment, those people experience something rare. They are actually known. Not liked. Not validated. Known. And one person who truly knows you is worth more than 100 people who know your performance. Stop calling them friends when they're just using you. Stop over-investing in people who've never proved they're trustworthy. Stop feeling guilty for expecting reciprocity. Start building the small circle of genuine friends that Confucius knew was the only friendship worth having. And watch how your life transforms when you finally stop performing connection and start experiencing it.